Let me tell you something, not every woman gets admiration by being loud, flashy, or constantly in the spotlight. Some women walk into a room and don't have to say a word, yet somehow, everything changes. You know the type, she isn't trying to be noticed, but people feel her presence. Her calmness demands attention, her silence carries weight, and her confidence doesn't need an announcement. It's not about the dress she wears or the perfume she uses, it's something deeper. It's the way she carries herself, the unshakable peace she brings into a noisy world. While others try to prove their worth, she just is. And that is what makes her unforgettable. Other women glance at her with quiet curiosity, what does she have that I don't? Men sense something magnetic, they can't quite explain why they're drawn in. And even people who envy her can't help but respect her. These women hold something rare, a kind of quiet power that doesn't shout, doesn't chase, and doesn't beg to be seen. Yet somehow, everyone notices. And today, I'll reveal 9 powerful signs you might be one of them. The type of woman others quietly admire from a distance. But before we dive in, I want you to think about this. Would you rather be loudly liked or quietly respected? Do you think being quietly admired is more powerful than being openly popular? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear your take. Alright, let's begin. This isn't about perfection or external beauty. It's about the subtle psychological traits that make people stop and feel something when you walk by. Let's start with the first one. 1. You have a calm, self-assured energy. You've probably noticed, some people walk into a room and instantly shift the mood. Not because they're loud or demanding, but because they're centered. Their presence feels like a pause in the noise, grounding, steady, and quietly powerful. That's what calm, self-assured energy looks like. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't compete. You don't rush to be seen or heard, yet somehow, people notice you anyway. In psychology, this kind of confidence is called non-reactivity. It means you don't let your emotions control you, you control them. When someone tries to provoke you, you stay composed. When things go wrong, you don't spiral, you adapt. And that emotional stability makes people feel safe around you, even if they can't explain why. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in a meeting, and everyone's panicking because something went wrong. Voices are raised, emotions are high, but you stay calm, collected, maybe even smiling slightly. You think before you speak, and when you do, your words carry weight. That's the moment people start to admire you, not for being perfect, but for being unshakable. See, in a world addicted to drama, your calm becomes magnetic. While others run on adrenaline, you move with intention. And people, especially emotionally intelligent ones, can feel that difference. Research in social psychology actually backs this up. Studies show that emotional regulation, the ability to stay calm under pressure, instantly increases the level of trust, respect, and attraction people feel toward you. Because calm energy signals confidence. And confidence signals safety. When you walk through life grounded, unbothered, and emotionally stable, people admire you without realizing it. They might not compliment you out loud, but they notice. Your silence, your stillness, your ability to stay centered, it speaks volumes in a way words never could. Calmness is not the absence of power, it is power, mastered. 2. You're mysterious, but not distant. Let's be honest, we live in a world where everyone's broadcasting everything. Every thought, every emotion, every moment is shared online for instant validation. But you? You move differently. You don't overshare. You reveal pieces of yourself slowly, like turning pages in a book only to those who've earned the right to read it. You speak with intention, not for attention. And that quiet restraint, that sense of mystery, draws people in more than any filter or caption ever could. See, mystery isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being selective. You understand that not everyone deserves full access to you. You let people wonder, not because you're hiding something, but because you're protecting something valuable, your peace, your energy, your depth. Psychologists call this the information gap theory. It's a fascinating concept, It says that when people sense there's something they don't know about you, their curiosity naturally intensifies. It's the human brain's way of saying, wait, there's more here. So the less you reveal all at once, the more people want to understand you. Think about it. When someone tells you every detail of their life in the first 5 minutes, your curiosity dies quickly. But when a woman smiles and gives a thoughtful, limited answer, when her eyes suggest there's more beneath the surface, she becomes unforgettable. That's you. You know how to leave space for imagination. You understand the power of silence, of mystery, of not being fully decoded. You make people earn your story, and that's what makes your presence feel like a privilege, not a right. You're mysterious, but not unkind. Private, but not cold. You let people in slowly, and when they finally do get to know you, they realize your quietness was never distance. It was depth. 3. You treat everyone with quiet dignity. One of the rarest and most powerful traits a woman can have is dignity. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that radiates through how she treats others. You don't look down on anyone. You don't try to impress anyone either. You treat the janitor, the waiter, the CEO, all with the same calm, effortless respect. Because your sense of worth doesn't come from hierarchy, status, or applause. It comes from within. That kind of grounded humility is rare, and when people see it, they feel it. They might not even realize why they respect you, but they do. Because true dignity disarms ego. It silences arrogance without saying a word. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're out with friends, and someone's rude to a server. They roll their eyes, snap their fingers, act entitled. But you smile, say thank you, and speak with kindness. In that moment, without even trying, you shift the energy of the whole table. You remind everyone, subtly, silently, what respect looks like. That's what I mean by quiet dignity. It's not weakness, and it's not naivety. It's self-awareness. You recognize that power doesn't need to humiliate others, it lifts them. You know that true confidence never needs to shout. Psychologically, this connects to something called empathic intelligence, the ability to sense and honor the humanity in others while remaining grounded in your own. And that balance, seeing others clearly without losing yourself, is emotional intelligence at its finest. People may forget what you wear, what you say, or even what you do. But they will never forget how you made them feel, calm, respected, seen. And that's why you stand out without ever having to try. Dignity doesn't ask for recognition. It earns it, quietly. 4. You radiate self-respect. There's something magnetic about a woman who respects herself, not in a loud, defensive way, but in the quiet way she chooses peace over chaos. You have boundaries. You know what you'll tolerate, and what you won't. And when someone tries to cross that line, you don't argue, you don't beg, you don't explain. You simply step back. That calm decision, that silence, speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. Because when you respect yourself, you don't chase validation, you attract respect. You see, a lot of people confuse boundaries with attitude. They think saying no makes you difficult, or walking away makes you cold. But in truth, boundaries are the highest form of self-love. They tell the world, I value myself enough to protect my energy. Psychologically speaking, boundaries are a reflection of self-worth. People subconsciously admire those who protect their peace instead of constantly seeking approval. Because it shows emotional maturity, the kind of strength that doesn't need permission to exist. Imagine this. Someone you care about starts disrespecting your time or crossing your emotional limits. Instead of reacting out of fear of losing them, you calmly distance yourself. No drama, no anger, just self-respect. That moment, right there, is power. Because it teaches others how to treat you, without you ever having to raise your voice. And here's what's fascinating, when you carry that energy, people feel it before you even speak. You walk differently. You communicate differently. You attract people who respect your boundaries and repel those who don't. Not because you're intimidating, but because your self-respect demands it. And it's not arrogance. It's alignment. It's knowing that your worth isn't up for debate. And in a world where many people compromise to be liked, that kind of quiet confidence is rare and unforgettable. 5. You're emotionally intelligent. One of the most quietly powerful traits a woman can have is emotional intelligence. It's not just about being kind or understanding, it's about mastering your emotions instead of letting them master you. You know how to read the room. You can sense when someone's energy shifts, when they're anxious, defensive, or pretending to be fine. You pick up on what's not being said, and you adjust with grace. You don't need to dominate conversations to make an impact. You listen, not just to respond, but to understand. And when you do speak, your words are intentional, thoughtful, and grounded in truth. That balance, strength without hardness, empathy without losing yourself, is rare. It makes you magnetic. People feel safe opening up to you because they know you won't judge or use their vulnerability against them. And that's what makes emotional intelligence so powerful. It creates safety. And safety, psychologically speaking, is the foundation of all deep admiration and attraction. When people feel emotionally safe around you, they let their guard down. They trust you. They respect you. You've probably noticed this before. In group settings, when emotions rise, someone's angry, defensive, or stressed, you're the one who stays calm, helps people see clearly, and diffuses tension with a few grounded words. That's not weakness. That's emotional strength in action. Psychologists define emotional intelligence as the ability to recognize, understand, and manage both your emotions and the emotions of others. It's one of the strongest predictors of leadership, healthy relationships, and long-term happiness. Because emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you choose how to express what you feel. And that choice, that awareness, is what separates a reactive person from an evolved one. You've learned that not every battle deserves your energy. Not every comment needs a reply. And not every emotion deserves to become an action. You are strong enough to feel deeply, yet wise enough to respond gently. And in a world where people often confuse loudness with power, that quiet emotional mastery is what truly makes you unforgettable. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, hit that like button. It helps more people discover content like this. And if you recognize yourself in any of these signs, tell me in the comments which one resonates most. 6. You don't chase attention, it comes to you. Have you ever noticed that the women who seem to attract the most attention are usually the ones not chasing it? They're not trying to impress anyone. They're not performing for likes, approval, or applause. They're simply being. And ironically, that's what makes people pay attention. When you move through life with quiet confidence, people can feel it. You don't need validation because you're already rooted in who you are. You're not trying to prove your value, you're embodying it. And that energy is magnetic. In psychology, this is known as reactance theory. It's a fascinating concept. The less someone tries to get attention, the more others feel compelled to give it. Because human beings naturally want what feels scarce, what feels earned. And authenticity, in a world filled with performance, feels like a rare luxury. You see, most people chase attention because they believe it validates their worth. But you've learned that attention isn't the goal, alignment is. You'd rather be respected by a few than noticed by many for the wrong reasons. Imagine this, you're at an event. Some people are loudly trying to dominate every conversation, laughing too hard, oversharing to seem interesting. But you're calm. Present. You speak when you have something meaningful to say, and when you're silent, you're comfortable in it. People glance at you, wondering who you are, because your stillness stands out in all the noise. That's the paradox of quiet power, it doesn't chase, it draws. Your presence communicates something deeper. I am complete, with or without your approval. And here's what happens, people subconsciously admire that independence. They crave the same self-assurance but don't know how to get it. So instead, they're drawn to you. They study you. They mirror you. They want to understand how you're so comfortable in your own skin when the rest of the world is busy performing. Your energy says, I don't need attention to feel seen. And that's what makes people notice you even more. Because real power never chases, it attracts. Underscore 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 underscore. 7. You have depth, you think and feel deeply. You don't skim through life, you absorb it. You notice the pauses between words, the tone behind a smile, the story behind someone's silence. You see beauty where others rush past it, and pain where others pretend not to look. You reflect before reacting. You process emotions, not just feel them. And because of that, your presence carries a kind of calm gravity. People feel seen when they're with you. Most people today live on the surface, scrolling, rushing, chasing. But you? You think. You feel. You question. And that scares some people, but it also intrigues them. They might not always understand you, but they sense something rare, a quiet depth that can't be faked. Depth creates presence. And presence creates admiration. It's not about being mysterious, it's about being real in a world addicted to shallow. 8. You carry grace even when wronged. When people hurt you, you don't react with vengeance, you respond with wisdom. You've learned that not every insult deserves a reply, and not every betrayal deserves your energy. You know when silence speaks louder than anger. Because silence, in your world, isn't surrender, it's self-control. It's choosing your peace over pointless battles. And that quiet restraint? It's emotional mastery. You understand that grace doesn't mean weakness, it means strength guided by compassion. Anyone can lash out when wounded, but it takes depth and discipline to remain composed. You don't use gossip as revenge, you use growth as closure. And that's what truly sets you apart. People may not say it out loud, but they feel it, that rare calm power that comes from someone who's healed enough not to seek destruction. You stay soft in a hard world. And in a society that glorifies clapbacks and chaos, that softness, that grace, is what makes you unforgettable. 9. You inspire without trying. You're not forcing anyone to change, but your life shows what's possible. You don't preach, you embody. Your peace, your growth, your quiet consistency, they speak louder than any motivational speech ever could. People watch how you move through life, how you handle pressure, how you heal, how you keep showing up even when no one's watching. And without realizing it, they start to ask themselves, if she can carry herself like that, maybe I can too. That's real influence, the kind that doesn't shout, but shifts something deep in people. It's the way you live, not the words you say. And because your energy feels authentic, people don't feel judged by you, they feel invited to rise. You've become a quiet mirror, reflecting back to others their own potential. And that's the true essence of being quietly admired. You don't demand attention, you earn it, through grace, depth, and the quiet power of example. So, if you recognized yourself in these signs, even just a few, don't underestimate your presence. You might not always get loud praise or public validation, but trust me, people notice. They see the way you walk into a room without needing to prove anything. They feel your calm when everyone else is reacting. They notice the quiet confidence in how you hold your boundaries, how you treat others, and how you rise after being misunderstood. You may not always be told, but there are people out there who study your energy, who look at you and think, that's the kind of woman I want to become. Your presence leaves ripples, even in silence. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these traits do you think is hardest to maintain in today's world, self-respect, emotional control, or grace under pressure? Drop your thoughts below, your comment might inspire someone else watching. And if this video resonated with you, take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who embodies that quiet kind of beauty. Remember, real power doesn't make noise. It's felt. And the women who understand that, they don't need the spotlight. They become the light.